Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Triangle of Fence. I'm Monish, and as always, I'm joined by Nishant. What's up, man? Yesterday the Clippers were playing Sacramento Kings and they were losing, which I would usually be mocking the Clippers somewhere or the other. But for a change, I was not very interested in it because I was hyped up for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't follow the NFL a bit. I've been watching them since the playoffs, but Super Bowl is one festive atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, growing up even in India without much exposure to American leagues, mainly because nobody used to telecast games, right? Once in a while you'd see. So because ESPN was big and like proper, the US ESPN was here. So you'd see NBA games quite frequently, and every once in a while you would see baseball game, and baseball was just dead boring. Like I get the game, it's just dead boring for me. So didn't really take much fancy. They even had ice hockey for a while. Like India was struggling with selling hockey as a sport, and here are ice hockey. So in all of that, I still remember even back then, like 1990s India, newspapers used to make a big deal out of the Super Bowl because it is a big deal in the US and kind of becomes like a world event because they influence so much of the world media. So that's how it started, right? So obviously, and the whole country goes into a shutdown, right? When it's Super Bowl, like all bets are off. Next day at work, it's all about that. Like all of last week, I'm sure you would have seen this there. All office spaces turn into basically betting zones of what's going to happen, prop bets, blah, blah, blah. What color will be the Gatorade that they pour on the winning coach, blue, orange, so on. So it is a festive atmosphere. It's a whole ecosystem unto itself.
Yep, absolutely. But the game was quite a bit of a dud. The Buccaneers winning it pretty easily. Unexpected results. They went in as the underdogs. And Tom Brady, now, this stat that you told me is quite unreal, and it's taken me a long while to digest it. He's now more successful than any other NFL franchise.
Yep.
He's got 7 Super Bowls himself. The most successful NFL franchise has 6. All 6 with him, of course.
Yeah, no, so there are 2. So Pittsburgh Steelers and Patriots have 6 each. Tom Brady now has 7. Patriots won't even be on this list if not for Tom Brady because all 6 came with Tom Brady. So
that's insane. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about the NFL on an NBA podcast, the reason I want to ask you this is we've talked multiple times about LeBron James and Michael Jordan and who's the greatest of them all. Now, if you put in Tom Brady into this discussion and expand the scope to US athletes, where would Tom Brady rank? Is he greater than LeBron James in terms of career wins and what he's achieved? Greater than Michael Jordan even? Where would you rate this achievement? 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 Super Bowl wins.
Yep.
More wins than any other franchise. Yep. It's got to rank somewhere high up there. So how would you compare his achievements to say what LeBron has achieved over the last 2 decades where he's made 10 finals himself and won a fair few?
Yeah, it's a complex comparison because it's to an extent apples to oranges. To an extent, it's not fair grounds to compare. Like you can't normalize the two to a common factor. But I will say this though, in this whole GOAT debate thing of we should first limit this to US sports because I find it laughable when American presenters, like you win the Super Bowl and you're declared the world champions. Wait, who the hell participated? This is a domestic league. I love it. I watch it. I'm a big fan. But easy with the world beater. NBA winners are called world champions and their baseball thing is called World Series. You've got to have one city outside your continent at least being repped in it before you call it a world title, right? So it's a little like relax, you say, like easy. So this GOAT debate is largely American Pro League GOAT debate, right? And we don't have a shred of a clue of baseball or Babe Ruth. Like I know the name and the numbers, but beyond that, I've not watched him play. He's too old. Don't know, don't care. Between NFL and basketball, and just these two gentlemen, and which among them is the greatest? It's an interesting debate, right? Because LeBron James plays in a sport where at any point there are 5 people on the court.
Right.
And because of the salary cap and the way it's structured, which is most American pro sports, you're not going to have 5 world-beating superstars on one team. It hardly ever happens. Some teams have come close, but not really. 3 is about as big as anyone's gone. So when it's like that, the amount of influence that one man can have on the tempo, on the game, on the score, and on the result is immense. So what a Jordan can do in a Bulls uniform is immense for the Bulls. What LeBron can do in Cavs, Heat, or Lakers is incredible. In football, you can't quite. It's not the same
Mhm.
thing because there's like 50 something members that are part of the squad, and there's your primary players, there's your secondary unit, there's your special teams, and they're all disjointed. They all
Mhm.
come together under the head coach as one org, but it's entirely different units. Like when the special teams is out, Brady's sitting, and the offensive line is sitting, and his receiving core and his tight end, blah blah blah. They're all sitting, and when say Mahomes for instance in this game, when the Chiefs had the ball, it's the Bucks defense that's on the field, and again Brady can't do anything because he's sitting and he doesn't make those calls. He doesn't. There's a defensive coordinator who makes calls for these teams. So level of influence wise, basketball allows you to have a whole lot more. So then you get a higher share of the credit, right? It's
Mhm.
disproportionate.
Mhm.
The impact that like LeBron can go transform a bum Lakers team that has never been to the playoffs in 8 years into straight up chip winners in 1 year.
Mhm.
And that's where we come to Brady
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he spent all his life in New England. And you can tell me one player doesn't have that much impact in football, and you would by and far be by large be correct.
Mhm.
But then you look at Tom Brady, 20 years in the league. Players don't make the Super Bowl all that much. Like
Yeah.
you've had Hall of Famers who've been to a Super Bowl. Some of them have lost and been Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
You have all-time greats who've never ever played in the Super Bowl. It's a lot like the NBA Finals, only a whole lot harder because of the complexity and it's one and done, right? Unlike the NBA, the playoffs are
Right.
not best of seven. It's not a series of chess type
Right.
struggle. It's one and done. You knock out, boom, gone. So it's incredibly difficult to get to the Super Bowl a lot. And Tom Brady in 20 years has been to 10 Super Bowls first. Second, he's been
Mhm.
to 14, I think 15 it was, conference championship games.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and I think this is first in the AFC. He was in the NFC all along before this. But 14 out of 20 years, he's been to the conference finals, so to speak, to put it in NBA terms. And he's won 6 Super Bowls.
Yep.
All six, we're talking about influence, right? Here's influence. On all 6 Super Bowl wins, the game clinching score,
Mhm.
touchdown,
Mhm.
came from a Tom Brady drive. So on all 6 Super Bowls, he drove the team for the game clinching score
Mhm.
for the touchdown. That's insane. That's direct influence. Like you can't argue beyond that. And then there's the fact that at age 43, because throughout all of this, everyone said, okay, it's Bill Belichick. The way
Mhm.
I'm sure at some point somebody would have said it's Phil Jackson because I mean, with Jordan, with
Yeah.
Kobe, I mean, it's the coach because with any player, no, it's not any player. I mean, you give a coach Jordan, Pippen, and all of those guys in the Bulls, and then you give a coach Shaq, Kobe, or even Kobe at his best and Pau. It's going to be a lot about the players also. So people said it's Belichick. People said it's the New England Patriots system. It's not
Mhm.
all Brady. Brady is great, sure, but it's not him. Okay, and I bought into some of that. Then I saw him go to Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, who until last year were the Succaneers because they last made the Super Bowl God knows when, and they haven't been good for a while. They had a
Yeah.
lot
And
of
like everyone
receiving.
thought that he was going to
Yeah.
Florida to retire like everyone else does.
Right. No, I think so. No, he was very smart about this, right? Because he could have gone to either of the LA teams because they were also
Mhm.
quite loaded,
Mhm.
the Rams and the Dodgers. And there was talk that can he go to San Francisco? It's sort of his hometown area, so to speak. But that would have been a way outlandish deal for that to happen and the pieces that had to be moved.
Mhm.
But he picked Tampa. He picked Tampa because this was the most loaded, talented receiving unit in all of the
Mhm.
NFL. That
Mhm.
was just badly looking for a quarterback, right? Outside of Kansas City, probably these were the guys. So he goes to this franchise that has sucked for donkey's years. He
Mhm.
goes there in the time of COVID. So they don't really have a preseason. They don't really have time to practice, to get to know each other, to build any kind of team chemistry. Even post match, during the season, they're going straight home and they're isolated and all of this. In that, Tom Brady, at age 43, goes to this franchise that has sucked, brings in players that only came to play because Tom Brady called them to play. Gronk was retired for fuck's sake. He came back to
Yeah.
play.
Yep.
Antonio Brown had all kinds of issues off the court, and he probably still will, but he came to play, and Tom Brady vouched for him. And And all of a sudden, this 43-year-old guy, who's only supposedly a beneficiary of a great system and an outstanding Hall of Fame coach, both of which are true. Both of which are true, but that doesn't mean it wasn't Tom Brady doing all of these things also. First season out, Super Bowl, win against the best quarterback in the game today. And on the way, he beat future Hall of Famer Drew Brees. Then he beat current MVP Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And then he beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the defending champs and the defending finals MVP, and widely regarded as the greatest quarterback in the game. He did all this in a new franchise with no time to practice in the time of COVID at age 43. It's tough to argue, man. I would put him above LeBron without thinking twice. I would actually put him above Jordan because, as I've said this before, I value longevity heavily. It's one thing. Jordan had a ridiculous peak. That record is flawless. 6 and 6 finals MVPs is insane. It's tough to top. But and first of all, I hate how we act like the Washington Wizards years didn't happen. He chose to make it happen. I mean, he could have retired, but he chose to make that happen. And those were miserable. And also, when you cut short your career so much, you've packed so much into those 13 years. But here's a guy who's been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like the players he's playing against, some of them weren't even born when he was in the NFL. When he was in the Super Bowl, some of these kids were probably not born when he was in his first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it at age 43. When we talk about LeBron washed king revenge season, whatever, at 35, at 43, look at what this man's doing. New franchise, Super Bowl. I rest my case.
Yeah, I like how someone on Twitter said that Tom Brady just picked a random team and decided to take them to the Super Bowl. That's very similar to what LeBron does in the NBA as well. He goes to Miami, takes them to Super Bowl, goes to Cavs, build a team, takes them to Super Bowl. Decided to do that with the Lakers this time. And it's pretty much similar how much of influence that both of these guys have. Not just by themselves, they also build the team. I mean, all those side pieces that you talk about that they have, they are there because of these star players. So you got to give them some credit for it. That whole Michael Jordan argument, I agree with that. I think you can't not pick the years that you don't make the NBA finals, right? So I know whenever you make the NBA finals, you win. That is very impressive, 6 out of 6. But you have to take it even the years that you don't make it, even the years before those 92 to 98 season Chicago and after with Wizards. So I agree. I mean, I like the record of Tom Brady. I think it is. But let's not forget, LeBron's not done. He's just 30. What? He's gunning for an MVP this season and most probably the chip if he continues to play
stand. Like I think everything you said is as things stand. But absolutely, LeBron has. I don't think Tom Brady's done either. But LeBron has a longer runway to achieve a bunch of stuff. But no, you're very right about the other thing that I would hold against Michael Jordan is he did all that in one franchise.
Right.
He did that while being stable, and they added, and he had a head coach that was steady throughout and a GM, and not holding any of this against him. But he did all of this in one place. Versus the difficulty level of a LeBron, who and it's easy to say he walked out of Cleveland, he chose to go to Miami. The whole announcing it on ESPN was ridiculous. Right? We could have done without that circus.
Yeah,
but not everyone gets dealt the same hand. Like you're in Cleveland, he's been there, he tried it. They gave him. Look at the team that he carried to the finals in Cleveland. Just go see that lineup, and then tell me Jordan's this, Jordan's that. Yeah, sure, Jordan's insane, but he's also gotten all of those amazing pieces put around him by the org, which LeBron didn't get in Cleveland, and so he moved out, went to Miami, put a team together. He really was the first athlete to say, "Okay, I'm going to piece a team together. Screw what the GMs do," and he did that again at Cleveland. And he did that for years, and then he came to the City of Angels, which has seen God knows how many titles, but has sucked for 8 years straight. And he transformed them. The Anthony Davis trade, I'm sure, was a year in the making. I'm sure they would have spoken a year before it actually happened. So both of these guys are transformative in the way that Michael Jordan never was, because he was never in a situation where he needed to be. I'm not saying he couldn't be, but that's not something he has in his list of achievements.
Right.
These guys have LeBron more so than Brady, but Brady, he's just getting started. Year one, straight up Super Bowl. It's pretty impressive. So this is where I would hold it against Jordan, both longevity and how they've been so transformative across cultures. A lot of the Bulls transformation, heavy credit to Jordan, but a fair amount of that to Phil Jackson also. With LeBron, it was almost all him. In this regard, he gets more credit than pretty much any other superstar. Not even Brady, because Brady was with Belichick for 20 years. But LeBron, across coaches, across clubs, that's incredible.
Mhm. Totally. I mean, if you think of Jordan, I think the impact he had is outside the game of basketball as well. How he made it a global sport and how people from across the world started following the game. You could say it was partly because of him, mostly because of him.
For
And
sure, for sure.
LeBron and Kobe and Shaq and everyone enjoyed that
Yeah.
era of popularity because of what Jordan did in the past. So
No
got to
doubt.
give that to Jordan. But I
Of
think
that, he was the GOAT. Like, there's nobody
yes,
even
no
close.
doubt
For
about
sure.
that. He's just transformed the game individually. He's made it a global
Transcendent.
phenomenon and whatnot, which LeBron James carried forward, and now he's the face of the franchise. Will continue to be for the next few years. Tom Brady, kind of probably for different reasons as well. He hasn't had that kind of an impact with the NFL. Nobody follows the NFL outside the US except few people. So uh, he doesn't have that
That's
kind
true.
of impact. So I think in different, if you put different parameters, I think different people come out on top.
Yeah, but
of
that's
the NFL.
always the GOAT debate, right? It's always what are your
Always.
parameters? What do you count as the most valuable
Yeah.
contribution? And that's where basketball has the advantage always, because no one guy can make NFL exciting
Absolutely.
until you have a buy-in, and then you know the narratives, and then all of that is there. In basketball, even if you don't know anything, even if they don't have your buy-in as a viewer, one guy can absolutely change your life. Yeah, you watch Kobe or a LeBron or even a Vince Carter dunk and you're hooked because it's instant gratification. In football, it takes a certain level of understanding of the rules. Like, you can maybe applaud a miracle one-handed catch, like an Odell Beckham Jr. moment, but to appreciate the sport, it requires there's a slight bit of learning curve at least to begin with. In basketball, there's not. It's just, how did this giant of a man jump that high? Your mind's blown. The basketball is always going to have that advantage. But yeah, any good debate boils down to what do you count as parameters for a good conversation, and why most people. So Max Kellerman on ESPN said something very interesting once about Kobe and LeBron. And he said anyone who's watched Kobe play was so blown away by the play, by the ability, by the charisma, the flair, that they can't imagine that there can be anything better than what they saw with their own eyes. But LeBron's better, is what he said. And I don't disagree. In several ways, he is LeBron, right? I think he's a more evolved player. And with every decade, you're going to see more of this happen.
Yeah.
But here's my point. When a lot of these ESPN analysts and a lot of these US pro sports analysts, Fox, whatever, stick on to this Jordan's the GOAT notion, that's fine. If you have a set of parameters and you're saying he's the GOAT, fair enough. I mean, I think he was a pretty good player, huh? So it's okay to say Jordan was the GOAT. But I'm saying the same argument that you use for saying LeBron's better than Kobe, are you not blinded by it when you apply it in favor of Jordan versus LeBron? Because if you're saying Jordan's the GOAT, what you're saying is you've seen a prime so ridiculous for a player who could come on at will and impose his will on the game. How can anyone be better than that? That's the same argument you made for the Kobe LeBron thing. How are you not able to see it in the how are you not able to see LeBron's transformative capabilities? His Jordan never did all the things that LeBron did. Jordan, you give me accolades. Jordan never topped all 5 stat categories across both teams in an NBA Finals. So again, it's always that, and sometimes it just sadly becomes a contest of who do you think is the better player, whereas probably what we're discussing is who do you think is the better achiever, because if it's just playing skill, then a whole bunch of people come to the conversation.
True. Absolutely. And like we've known before, but we still try to, we never come to a conclusion with these things. But worth a debate, I think, worth a shot. We'll never conclude. Everyone has different ways of looking at this. So for today, it was LeBron versus Brady versus Jordan, a triple threat match, which would made a great main event at WrestleMania.
But for now, as things stand, I say Brady.
All right, so that's our take, and that is all we have for you today. This was absolute fun. This is kind of a deviation from what we usually do. I know we'll be back with basketball tomorrow on, but just putting things into context, it's Brady, LeBron, Michael Jordan from us before we sign off for today.
All right.
All right, bye.
Peace.